is February 5th, 2005 or 15. I just made this last video clip about the government people that I thought were my friends, and anyway, on that note, this is just a little tangent. I have no idea how many government people I've met. I mean, in my world, like almost everybody is the government. Because when I was a kid growing up, and even as a teen and then as an adult, that is really who has surrounded me. So it's almost like, my experiences feel like it's been 80% government people and like 20% of the real world, the rest of the people. And so it's really skewed for me. But this college age group of people that would get together sometimes on holiday breaks were these kids that I ended up becoming quote-unquote friends with in high school. And they all drank, like most college students do. And I was the only one who didn't drink. I wasn't in college most of the time. I mean, when they were leaving high school and going straight to their 4 years of college or whatever, I wasn't able to do that right away. So I wasn't in college, and they were all drinking. I was hearing about all their drinking stories. Got really tired of hearing nothing besides drinking. And I didn't drink at all. So I would sometimes, they get home for the break, call me up and say, we're going to meet at this bar, you want to come meet us, and we're going to hang out. So I'd meet with them, and I wouldn't have anything to drink. Typically they didn't meet at a bar, though. They sometimes meet at a house. But a couple times they meet at a bar or a restaurant that served liquor. And I just got tired of hearing about their drinking stories. And I think it was just natural because in college you do a lot of drinking and you have a lot of drinking stories. But I thought it was boring. And I didn't think there was anything that amusing about how much someone threw up and how often and how much liquor it took them and that kind of thing. So that is kind of what these get-togethers were like. And then after like 4 years, when I was when I was older myself, I was finally getting into community college and starting up my college studies later. And it was when I was finally in college myself and they were out of college, or they were in grad school or sometimes starting new jobs out of grad school. And I was, 25 years old. And I'd just been raped by Josh Gatov when I was 24. And then all of a sudden, it was like a year later, Alicia Peterson called me up and said, we're all going to get together over at this bar, and we'd like to see you and talk and see how you're doing, if you want to come. So then Erica Ballinger called me and she said, did Alicia Peters call you? And I said yes. And I was kind of surprised that Erica Ballinger called me, because supposedly Erica Ballinger didn't always hang out with this group that I hung out with in high school. Like, she had a different kind of group of friends. She didn't always hang out with Alicia Peters and Shannon and Monica and Jeff Rasmussen and Robin Bechtold and Lenny Schwabi or whoever. And but she was also connected to the government, actually, and she worked, and her family worked closely with the other parents, but I didn't realize it. They had been doing that since I was a kid, and since they'd been torturing me and holding me hostage and doing all these weird things to me, including sexual assault and rape when I was a kid. And so maybe Erica kept her distance from them just so I wouldn't somehow reassociate who these people all were and that they were all connected. But on this one occasion, she called me up and said, well, I'm going over there too, and do you want a ride? I can give you a ride. And then I'll give you a ride home too. I'll pick you up, take you there, and give you a ride home. And I said, okay. And so she picked me up. We went over to the bar, and still at that point I was not drinking at all. I had like the glass of, or the cup of wine with Josh Gatov. And after that, I actually don't think that I drank at all. I think that I can't remember one time that I actually went out for a drink or had anything to drink. So I was much more of a to fit in or be social on occasion kind of a drinker. And so I was 25, still, didn't have any kind of alcohol tolerance built up, and really didn't read about alcohol either. I didn't know how much alcohol would make someone over the legal limit to be able to drive or drunk, or how it would affect me. I mean, when I was a kid, I kind of knew more. But as an adult, I didn't do any of that. And had just, had no idea what would affect me or not. So we got to this bar, and I hadn't planned to drink at all. I didn't go there with the mindset that I was going to have anything to drink, because I didn't really care about it. It didn't matter to me one way or the other. And she said, it was Alicia Peters. Not Peterson, sorry. Her last name is just Peters. But it was Alicia Peters that said, please let me buy you a drink. And I said, no, I'm fine. And she kept saying, come on, please. And they were all drinking, and they all looked guilty. And I thought that was really strange, too, because all of them had drinks, and they offered to buy me a drink right from the start. And I didn't want anything. I had water or soda or something. And I sat there, and I was trying to chat with them, and they all looked just guilty. And I thought, maybe they feel really bad that they're drinking and I'm not drinking. And I thought, well, why would they feel bad about that? Because there's nothing wrong with their drinking. Why should they care? But I mean, I think looking back on it now, I think that they had a plan that they were going to work out. They wanted me to get drunk, and I think that they all wanted me, and somehow knew that Robin was going to try to rape me. And I say that because of their reactions. And it was in hindsight that I could see that, but I did notice it was a little strange even at the time. So then, finally, noticing their weird, guilty-looking feelings and thinking wrongly that it was, maybe they just feel bad that they're drinking, and I think I'm superior to them, and, well, I don't want them to think that I'm superior to them, or some kind of like a goody-goody. And even though it doesn't matter to me, I thought, well, maybe to make them feel more at ease and relaxed and be able to have a good time, I guess I should maybe take Alicia up on her offer and have a drink. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And Erica's going to drive me home, so shouldn't be a problem. So I let Alicia Peters buy me a drink, and then I noticed they relaxed a little bit, and I thought, well, okay, that's good, I mean, here I was thinking about them. How can I make them feel more relaxed? And so she got me some kind of a drink where you couldn't taste the content of the alcohol at all. I mean, I think that the proof on it was really, really high. And I didn't know because it was some kind of a fruity thing. It just tasted like juice to me. And so I drank it, and then I was, talkative and stuff, and then someone bought me another drink right after that. And I didn't feel it. It didn't like, I drank it pretty fast because it tasted like juice. I thought there was hardly any alcohol in it. I thought, oh, well, this is hardly anything. And it was just disguised, like it was like well disguised high proof liquor. And so it hadn't completely hit me, like it hadn't gone through my system to just suddenly to just hit me with that, okay, I've had enough to drink, definitely feeling. And so she bought me another one, and I at first I had said no, that's fine, but they had all had several drinks themselves, and I thought, well, they're having a lot of drinks and they're acting like no big deal, no problem, and probably 2 drinks would be fine. And even if I am like slightly tipsy or whatever, Erica's driving me home, so no big deal. Like even if I have a little bit to drink, it won't be a problem. So I had a second drink, like right after that, and it was another high proof second drink, and it was 2 drinks total, from what I remember. If there was a third drink, it's possible. It's possible. I think a couple of people wanted me to try their drinks, like a couple of the girls, and I said, here, try this, and what do you think about this? So I possibly had more than 2 full drinks. But this is like for a total non-drinker, lightweight. And all of a sudden, it just hit me. And I was drunk. And I was still thinking to myself, well, Erica's driving me home, so I really drank too much. But she's driving me home. Well, in the meantime, I did realize that Robin Bechtold got up after I got the second drink. And he started to lose his act a little bit. I was getting drunker, and as I was getting drunker, he started looking more determined and kind of mean. Like mean and determined and very serious. And he got up from the table, and I knew then he knows I was drunk, but you know how you can sometimes still think through your drunkenness, and you can still ascertain the emotions and expressions of individuals and how they're treating you, even though you're in that sort of hazy state where your judgment's not always very good. Well, that's kind of how it was, and I could tell that there was something going on with Robin, because he waited around until he saw that I was definitely drunk, and then he got this change in expression. And he got up, and then he left the entire group and went over to some kind of a lottery, computerized game thing that you can get money out of if you play poker and win. And so everybody was still sitting around talking at this bar. And Robin got up all by himself and removed himself from the group, went over to I didn't always have my eyes on him, so if there was someone else in that room, or he did something else, or went to the restroom and met someone in there, I don't know. I just know that he got up, and I thought it was kind of odd, and he was by himself, and then I thought, what is he doing? And he was at one of those like poker game stations, and he came back with like a kind of a smug look on his face, and very determined and just serious. He was not drunk at all. He'd had several drinks and he wasn't drunk. He didn't even seem buzzed. He acted like he was, and he actually worked as a bartender for several years in California, and he had a lot of experience getting drunk and playing drinking games and building up his own tolerance. So he was definitely not drunk. he went over to this game and he was able to win $20.